Hi, I'm L.V. Miller with Meadowlark Log Homes. I want to talk about the restoration process of the Lake McDonald Lodge in Glacier National Park in northwest Montana. In 2016, Meadowlark Log Homes was chosen for a special project of restoring and replacing the cedar railing on the outside of the Lake McDonald Lodge, and that was completed in 2016. Today, in 2017, we are providing a replacement restoration of the cedar logs on the exterior of the lodge. Many of these are posts and beams that are decorative or holding up the deck, and the bark is on them. This is how it was originally built, with cedar that had the bark on it, and so that's how we had to replace it. And we are nearing completion of this project now, and it's been a winter project. We had to do this in the wintertime for several reasons. We had to harvest the wood in the wintertime so that the sap is not in the tree, so that the bark won't slide. And then we had to restore and replace the material in the wintertime while it's cold so the bark has less damage. And so we accomplished that. And it's been quite a project to get every piece out one at a time. And then the craftsman had to handcraft and cut and notch every piece back in place just the way it was, as close to the original as possible. So it's been a fascinating project, and it's coming along very well. Meadowlark's crew that was chosen for the Lake McDonald Lodge restoration of the cedar replacement was the Girard brothers. And so they provided all the work on site for us, and they did an excellent job because they are craftsmen. They're given the detail, and they know what they're doing when it comes to wood and replacing these kind of things.
The old logs are really rotten, and just to replace those, it gives the front a whole new look, and then you level out a lot. You have to level out the deck so it looks like it probably did when it was new. You never know, but it's been a challenge, but we're actually ahead of schedule right now. So I figured this is going to be 3 months, and we will be here a little over 2 months. I'm predicting. I assume we'll be a little over 3 months. So it takes about probably a day per post and beam. So you don't get a lot of production done, but it's you can't hurry up the process. It's like you have to take a log down and then you have to duplicate it exactly the way it was done. You can't deter from that. So we're actually really enjoying the job. It's in the middle of the winter. We've actually shoveled snow probably a couple days, literally. I mean, we shoveled snow off the deck, one of the decks that was 3 foot high, and we went away for a weekend, and the drifts on that deck were over 4 feet. Wow. We reshoveled it. We totally reshoveled it. So it's a lot of shoveling snow and dealing with weather. But the snow being here protects the landscaping, so we can actually drive our excavator and our sled. We move most of the logs with a sled. So every day, we get a little piece done a day, every day, just a little bit of progress, and it's going real well. We're enjoying it.
We've been here about a month, I believe now, a little over a month actually. It's going to take another month, probably close, another couple weeks at least. The scenery here is just majestic. I mean, the mountains down by the lake are probably more majestic than almost anything in the area that I know of here in Glacier National Park. Just a beautiful, beautiful place. The history of this place is pretty amazing. I read some things about it where they used to be able to, they only got here by boat at one time. We've replaced a lot of wood, so a lot of this wood got to go somewhere, and it's way back down in here, so we sled it back up there, and there's quite a pile of this waste extra wood up on top there that we've made actually 2 piles. There's too much wood laying around. And some of these logs are just seriously rotten. I mean, they would no way be safe for anybody to walk on. But it'll be safe now. Well, this is a project that came about through Meadowlark Log Homes. And me and my 2 brothers started working together again, formed a company. So we're subbing out to them. And it's been a fun project, really, really exciting. And yeah, it's a little challenge sometimes to work with siblings, but we duke it out and we get it done. Not really, but if we get into some kind of spat, it's usually snowball fights. So that's a lot of fun.
Yeah, my name is Marcus, and
I'm working here with my two brothers, and it's a phenomenal job. I've worked on a lot of log projects, but this is probably the most unique one that I've worked on so far, and it's been a great. We've had a great time on it. I mean, it's you figure things out one step at a time. It's not like you can really tell what you're going to be doing or how to do it until you get right to the project, and you tear one piece out at a time and replace it. So it's a very very technical project, but it's also very fulfilling. You get to work here in this beautiful Glacier Park, right beside McDonald Lake, and it's a beautiful, probably one of the most beautiful spots that I have worked in yet. So we're blessed to work in a place like this. It's very it's a lot of fun for us. So yeah, it's working with my brothers is sometimes challenging, but it's also very rewarding. We get to work together, and it's phenomenal to be able to work with family and be a company in that way. So yeah, it's been good. We've been here a little over a month, and we expect to be done another couple weeks, and it's been a good job. It's actually been very enjoyable for us to work together and to be a part in restoring this beautiful, beautiful lodge here in Glacier Park.
So one of the first things I noticed right away when I walked up here is the difficulty of the job. You know, of course, when you get a lot of snow everywhere, you can tell that it's going to be a lot more difficult. Looking at it, you know, from down below, looking up at it, it's definitely going to be a job that's going to be one for the books, the one to write home about for sure.
A number of different things had to fall in place in order for us to successfully complete the cedar replacement on the outside of the lodge. We had to get the cedar, the material. That was difficult to find, but our logger friend, Tim Jantz, who's been in the industry for 30 years or more, was able to find the cedar with tight growth rings and the tight bark and the quality that we needed with low knot density in North Idaho. And he provided all of the material, pretty much hand logged it, because each piece had to be handled with such care. The second thing that was important for us was a crew that knew exactly what they were doing. And it's not exactly just, you know, nailing boards together. It's more complex than just normal construction, because you have to take every piece out, match it, put a piece in, cut it just right so it fits just as close to the original as possible. And so the whole idea of this whole lodge restoration is so that all of the material, when it's in place, looks brand new, like the lodge did when it was first built. And I believe we've accomplished that. The way we look at it, the lodge and the park belongs to the people of the United States of America. And so we are proud to have people come by and enjoy their lodge and their park. And we believe our contribution will make it better, preserve it for generations to come. And we enjoy providing excellent craftsmanship in these kind of projects. And this is another one that we feel accomplished about, and very glad that we were able to be part of it.
I'm Shane Blackwell, a Cultural and Historic Preservation Specialist for Xanterra Glacier National Park. And basically what my job is to maintain these buildings and the integrity of them as if they were built yesterday. We've got a lot of technology these days and modern designs that people use. We can't really use that in the park. I mean, we really have to go old school with it, and we need to make it look like it did back in the day, as if it has just been in this bubble for 100 and some odd years, and weather and people and animals and all that stuff have never touched the buildings and never damaged them. But in reality, I mean, that is what's been happening to them. So we go in, I've got me and my crew, and we go in and we do whatever it takes. And there's a lot of times that we have a game plan going into it, and then we tear something apart or look at something, and then we're like, what is going on? Like, this is not at all what we were told it was, or what drawings showed that it was. And so we just kind of have to go from there. So the last couple of years we have been redoing a lot of the different buildings, cabins, lodges in the park. We've been spending a lot of details and works to the exterior of Lake McDonald Lodge. So basically, long story short, what happened is it was one day I was actually here, and it was right up on this section up here, And I was up there looking at actually something on one of the windows, and I leaned on the railing and realized that there's no wood left. I mean, it was layers upon layers of paint that was holding sections of that railing together. And so I approached NPS and let them know. I said, you know, look, we have a big project here that we need to address because we have major issues. And even though people are not allowed to go up there, you can't prevent it. I mean, there's still staircases that go up there. Anyone, you know, with free will can go up there, you know, if no one's watching. And we just want to make sure that we didn't have, you know, an issue. And again, we want to, you know, restore the integrity of these buildings. And that was a section that was completely failing. When it's something like this, and you've got to have details, you know, like they did, you know, 100 years ago, you can't just bring in anybody. So we researched extensively, multiple companies, brought them into our office, had them basically give us a plan, a proposal, and kind of tell us a little bit about them. And you're not just hiring like their work, you're hiring them. And when it's something, you know, as big as this project and as important as this project is, Xanterra being our company and NPS, you know, being, you know, the government, you know, who, you know, runs and owns and operates these buildings, we take a lot of pride. And so we wanted to make sure that it was done correctly. So after interviewing multiple companies, I felt about 1,000, no offense to anybody else, but I felt 1,000 times more confident and better about Meadowlark Log Homes than anybody else. And it's just the people. I mean, they were just amazing. And then seeing their work and seeing how they spoke and what their details were, and how much attention and pride that they were going to put into our building, it was a decision that we chose to make, and it was by far the best decision we've ever made as far as a big project like that. Some of the logs, you know, that are supporting that deck were still in great shape. And so we want to keep those. If they're still in great shape, we want to keep as much original fabric as we possibly can. So, you know, I kind of, you know, met with Meadowlark and said, okay, so this one needs to come out, this one needs to stay, this one needs to come out, this one needs to stay. And it's just amazing how they were able to go about that, replacing what needed to be replaced. It was amazing. So, you know, when I first met with them, you know, after they had done, you know, the railings and balusters, I brought them here and says, okay, now it's time for phase 2. So I need you to kind of look at this, give me a proposal, what it's going to cost, how you think it needs to be done. So we met here, and I was here with LV and Jois, and I believe, oh gosh, we must have spent 6 hours that day looking at every single log piece by piece. They were taking measurements, diameters of everything, numbering everything on paper and on the logs, and kind of getting a game plan as to what they needed to go harvest, because everything's different sizes. You can't just go out in the forest and cut 10 times what you need and hope in that giant pile that you have the right diameters. So, I mean, they literally went piece by piece and matched them up with the existing sizes and diameters and put it all back together like a puzzle. And I mean, it looks absolutely flawless. There's a lot of eyes, that gaze on these buildings. And so for us to be able to come in and, really do what's needed to them is, pretty amazing. This building is standing proud again. I mean, it's been neglected for many years. And, as you see behind us, it's just, I don't know, it's smiling. I know that sounds cheesy, but it is, and to get it all done, which is actually a pretty cool story. So, everything, always revolves around money. I mean, and to do a project like this, it's a good chunk of change. So talking to NPS, who, funded it and paid for it, they can only allocate a certain amount of money, each quarter or, each year. So when we talked to Meadowlark, we said, okay, so, doing this log project, we need to do it in 4 phases, basically like 4 payments. But NPS can only, have payments at this time. Well, out of the kindness of their own hearts, and I do realize that it is, economically, better and more efficient. They came in and banged the entire project out instead of doing it in 4 phases. And they said, you know what, the park deserves this. The people deserve this. Let's give it to them, all in one winter. That way, come this spring, which is now, everyone can, enjoy, the new lodge, and we'll worry about payment later. So they'll still get their payments in the original schedule, but again, they decided to come in and say, you know what, let's just do all of this at once and give the park back a beautiful lodge. So, and I thought I didn't hear that from anyone else.